Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's just about 2 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the third webinar being hosted by the Loudoun County Department of Housing and Community Development in celebration of Homeownership Month, which is June. So we are right at the end of Homeownership Month, but happy Homeownership Month to everyone. I do have a few housekeeping items to just mention before we get started with a great presentation today. First of all, just wanted to let everyone know that this session is being recorded. We've begun the recording already, and we do plan to post the session online after we're complete with it today. We will be using the chat for questions and answers today. Participants' cameras have been turned off and they are muted, but if you do have a question, and we hope you do have lots of great questions for our panelists today, you can feel free to put those questions in the chat and I'll read them off and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can today. Closed captioning is being provided for this session. Already in the chat there is a link. It starts with streamtext.net. If you click on that link, it will bring you to a new browser and you can follow along with captions if you'd like to for this session. We are very happy today to be joined by representatives from the Dulles Area Association of Realtors. Amanda Brewer is the CEO of DAR and Rich Blessing is the board president of DAR. Rich and Amanda are joining us in their roles with DAR and are here to provide education and information. They and we just want to note, are not here to endorse or promote any specific product or service. So we're looking forward to lots of great information. Before I read the full bios for Amanda and Rich, I did just want to give a little bit of information, a little bit more information about the Department of Housing and Community Development. So on the slide there, you'll see a listing of some of the programs that are offered by our department. And I did want to mention that the Department of Housing and Community Development is kind of a brand new department. We were formed just a few months ago at the end of March. Many of our programs were previously part of the Department of Family Services, but we are now a freestanding department. Our office is located on Catoctin Circle in Leesburg. And we are very excited to be offering the programs listed there, and we are excited also that many new programs will be coming as well. But just to give a little bit of an overview, the Department of Housing and Community Development offers homeownership programs. We operate the Affordable Dwelling Unit program. We also have 3 programs that offer assistance for down payment, closing costs, and lower interest rates for home purchase. We also offer rental programs. So we operate the Affordable Dwelling Unit rental program, as well as the Housing Choice Voucher program. We have home improvement programs. We oversee the Community Development Block Grant program for the county. We have 2 programs that offer loans for developers of affordable rental housing. And we also produce an annual Loudoun County apartment guide. We are also very excited that in September of 2021, the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors approved an unmet housing needs strategic plan. And that plan will guide our work over the next several years. So that's just some very high-level information about some of our programs. There's links on the right-hand side there where you can find lots of additional information. The first link is just to our main webpage. The second link is to the Unmet Housing Needs Strategic Plan. You can find the full plan there. You can follow along and track progress at that site, and there's lots of related resources as well. The apartment guide is the third link there, and as I said, that is a comprehensive guide to all of the major rental communities in the county, both those that participate in our programs and those that do not participate in our programs. Today's session will be focused mostly on the purchase market. If you want more information about rental, the apartment guide might be a good place to start. That guide offers rental ranges for each of the communities, as well as information about accessibility features, location, and there's an accompanying map too that goes along with that guide. The next 2 links are for the ADU program and for the down payment, closing cost, and public employee grants for homeownership program. And then the final link there is a web page that we've put together with housing education resources. At the end of their presentation, Amanda and Rich will be providing some additional information, including how to access the Virginia Housing Homebuyer Training, first-time homebuyer training, and how to find a local HUD-approved housing counselor. So that information is also on our housing education resource page, as well as other things that might be of interest to first-time and current homeowners. Our contact information is at the bottom there. That's my name, Christine Hillack. I'm our Community Development Specialist. That's our main phone number. And then there's 2 email addresses, my direct email, as well as the main email for the department. So please feel free to send me an email directly or reach out to me via the housing mailbox, and we will be happy to answer any questions you might have about our programs. With that, Rich, you can go to the next slide, and I am very happy to provide you with some more information about our great presenters today. So we have with us today, first, Amanda Brewer. Amanda Brewer has over 12 years of experience in the real estate industry, working for both realtor associations and in various real estate offices. Amanda began as the CEO of the Dulles Area Association of Realtors in June of 2020. She was most recently the Director of Member Services at the Kansas City Regional Association of Realtors, an organization of over 12,000 members, and prior to that served as the Director of Professional Development at the Cincinnati Area Board of Realtors, an organization of over 4,500 members. Amanda has a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky, and she earned her Realtor Association Certified Executive, or RCE, designation in 2018 from the National Association of Realtors. So thank you for being with us today, Amanda. And then we also have with us Rich Blessing. Rich Blessing is the Executive Director of Weichert Loudoun Commercial Advisors in Ashburn, Virginia. Blessing focuses on office, flex, light industrial, retail, land development, and medical office space in Loudoun, Fairfax, Clark, and Frederick counties. Blessing serves as the 2022 president of the Dulles Area Association of Realtors. He is the co-founder of the Loudoun County Commercial Real Estate Group, which is the only organization in Loudoun County that gathers commercial real estate professionals to discuss current property haves and wants. This is where many off-market properties are presented to the members. Additionally, Blessing belongs to the commercial real estate-focused Mid-Atlantic Real Estate Marketing Association based in Tysons. He has over 40 years of business experience, and he holds a Master's of Business Administration from the LeBeau College of Business at Drexel University. So with that, I am very happy to turn over the presentation to Rich and Amanda. And as I said, as our presenters are speaking today, feel free to pop some questions in the chat, and we will be taking all questions at the end of the presentation. Take it away, Rich.
We're going to start with Amanda.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Take it away, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. And as Christine said, my name is Amanda Brewer, and I am the CEO of the Dulles Area Association of Realtors, also known as DAR. So what is DAR? The Dulles Area Association of Realtors is a nonprofit trade association with over 1,400 realtor members in and around Loudoun County. DAR has been in Loudoun now for over 60 years, and our primary goal is to advance the careers of our realtors and enhance the professionalism of our realtor members while also protecting private property rights in our region. Rich will talk about this, but it's very important to note that all real estate agents are not realtors. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, which they can obtain that membership through DAR, and only realtors subscribe to a code of ethics, which is a higher standard of practice that aims to protect clients, consumers, and helps realtors cooperate with each other respectively. Part of what Rich will go over also in a minute is our latest monthly market report. You may have seen DAR's market reports in the Loudoun Times-Mirror or Loudoun Now, or maybe even in the Washington Post, or you may have heard the Board of Supervisors quote these statistics, but our market reports are very popular, and they're used by many to help gain insight on the real estate market in Loudoun County. We typically post our monthly market updates towards the end of the month, and you can find them on our website at dallasarea.com/market reports. They're available to the public. So we hope that after hearing what Rich has to say, you'll find them very valuable and seek those out each month. So now I will pass it over to Rich so he can dive more into the report and give you more information on the home buying and selling process.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Christine. What I'm going to do next is walk you through the market stats, and then we're going to drill down a little bit on buying a home and selling a home, and then provide you with some educational resources towards the end. So let's take a look at our market situation right now. This is the big picture, and we call it a seller's market. And we call it a seller's market because the sellers, the ones listing the homes, have the opportunity to kind of drive the negotiation. In other markets where there is not so much supply, or I should say, when there's plenty of supply and not much demand, then it becomes more of a buyer's market. So the first thing you always want to know is, where is the trend right now? And because there is not that much homes for sale, we call it a seller's market. There's also rising mortgage rates. You don't usually hear too much about mortgage rates except for on the news, but the thing to keep an eye on is the overall trend in interest rates. Now, when the interest rate that they talk about on the news that go up, that doesn't mean the mortgage rate is going to go up the next day, but it usually follows. So you got to keep a close eye on that. And I'll talk a little bit about buying and the entire timing that is important when you want to purchase a home. We're also seeing a little bit of a market slowdown. This is happening for a couple reasons. One, it's the time of the year. When we get into the mid and late summer, typically the housing market does slow down a little bit, and we're seeing that this year. But we're also seeing a little bit of a market slowdown because of the interest rates. The interest rates went up so high that a lot of buyers no longer became eligible for the home price point that they wanted. It just cost too much to do any type of lending. So that's another reason why it went down. It goes up and down all the time. So as you get ready to buy or you get ready to sell, you have to take note of that. And that's when you have a good conversation with your realtor. The national housing market itself, the inventory we're talking about, that it's amazing. Amanda and I recently went to our national annual event for National Association of Realtors. We have one in Chicago in the fall and one in DC in this spring. And everybody, there was probably like 5,000 people there, I think even more. Everybody was saying that across the country, inventory is low. And if you remember your old economics 101 from school, it's supply and demand, right? And that's what drives the prices, and that's what drives whether it's a buyer market or a seller market. Also, home prices are increasing. Now, this is national. Our home prices here are increasing a little bit more. Depending on where you live, and I think everybody on this call is right here in Loudoun in Northern Virginia, we're going to see some home prices increasing, and it's going to be a little bit higher than 15%. So pay a close attention to that and have a good conversation with your realtor. And mortgage rates sharply higher. And that's going to be something that just is making everybody kind of freak out, so to speak, in the market, because we never know where the mortgage rates are going to go. We know they're going up, but we don't know how much. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. Here are some Loudoun County numbers right now, some interesting things. This is the typical format you're going to see when we put out our monthly update on the market stats. And the median price over there on the far left there, the house with the dollar sign in it, is just about $700,000. Now, that doesn't mean that if you can't afford $700,000, you can't get a house, but that's where the median is. Also, the overall sales is dropping a little bit from last May of 2021. But the good news is, and that's that number right in the middle, there are 464 active listings in May, which is up almost 70% from last year. And that's what all of us in the real estate industry are looking for. when are more and more people going to be selling their homes? Because that's going to flip a lot of things that we're concerned with. There are some stats on the side as well. I want to talk about days on market. Days on market, that's determined from the time the house goes active to the time that it becomes ratified. So it could be on market, but typically that's the selling period. And you can see 7 days, that's crazy. And that's local. Other places in the country, it could be 3 months, 4 months. So 7 days, amazing how fast houses move. There's some market activity in our county per zip code. You can find your zip code where you live over on the right-hand side or where you may want to be buying a home. And then you can look at the home sales between the last couple years and what has happened with that. This is something to keep an eye on. Now, if you look at the very top, whoops, I'm sorry about that. The very top there, Aldi, there is more home sales because there's a lot more home building going down there. Everywhere else, the home sales are down. So find your zip code and then match it up between the two maps and the table there. Median listing, we look at a single family detached and we look at it, townhomes. One of the things you want to take note of is as this price is going up, this is the median price. And one of the things that it also includes in here would be new homes. So if you're looking for a new home, that's one issue. If you're looking for a resale, that's another issue. So this is an overall snapshot of the county. Your particular interest may not be located here, but just make sure that you're talking with your realtor and getting an idea of where the homes are increasing and in what zip code and what price point. Again, median sales price. So here we're looking at the average sold to ask. What does that mean? Well, let's say there's a townhouse listed for $375,000. That's the ask. If somebody comes in and says, you know what, I really want that, and I'm getting really frustrated buying homes, I'll pay $390. That's the sell. So the difference between when it gets sold and when the ask is, it's interesting. So if you look at this, notice that a lot of the homes that are actually being sold are being sold higher than they've been asked for what they were listed for. Now, this is not too much of a surprise. It's because if it's a seller's market like this, the buyers are scrambling around. There's just not a lot of inventory. And you may be in a situation where you must buy now. Perhaps you're moving into the area, you're being transferred, you want to get the kids into a school soon. So a lot of times you're going to have to pay this premium and pay this top dollar. Average days on market, dropping like a rock. Typically what we would see is in Loudoun County in most years, probably 30 to 60 days. You can usually sell your home. But now look at that, down to a week. So what does this mean to you as a buyer? What this means to you as a buyer is you need to be ready to move. If you're looking to buy a home and you're talking to your realtor and something comes up and says, "Oh, great, Tuesday afternoon, I can't get out work. Can I see it Sunday at the open house?" You may be gone. So you really need to have everything prepared. And when I get into talking about buying a home, I'll get a little more detail of what you need to do to become prepared. Active listings, we talked about this again. You notice that how it's dropping through May, and that is not uncommon. And that's just like a snapshot of where we are today. 464, like if you mentioned, I mentioned earlier, that's 70% over last year's listing at the same time. The recap here, just to kind of think about some things, is after 2 years, and a lot of it was COVID driven, sales activity is beginning to change a lot, isn't it? So you need to really be careful of your timing. When you're looking to buy a home, there's a lot of things to prepare for. So you want to look at the timing of the market, and that's going to be important as well. So if the sales activity is cooling, that means that the people that are selling houses aren't getting that top dollar that they were earlier. So that might be a time to jump in, right? Home prices are going to increase. We're in an area that has been considered one of the fastest growing, one of the most popular places to live in the entire country. Median house values, income, we're way up there in most counties in the country. So it's going to increase. It's going to increase and keep increasing. Inventory beginning to build back up, still pretty tight. And one of the issues that's being tight right now is that those that want to renovate a house to get it ready for sale, or those who want to build a brand new home, we're having the supply chain issues. It's hard to get wood, it's hard to get copper, it's hard to get whatever you need to build a home, and the prices are a lot higher. So let's say you wanted to add a bathroom or a bedroom to your home before you sold it to become more comparable to your neighborhood. Well, all of a sudden that $25,000 renovation may be more like $35,000. So that's slowing down as well. Let's jump now into the home buying process. Now I'm going to give you a lot of information here. Feel free to put a question into the chat, but you could also take a note and then do some research on this, or we'd be happy to help you at DAR or help you at the Housing Development Department as well. So there's about 10 steps. Here we go. Start online. I think that there are so many options available to you that this is where you start going through, especially if you're shopping with somebody, 2 to 3 of you, whoever it is, you can start comparing notes. And don't just go to one resource, go to many resources and get an idea of what's out there, because you're going to start looking at particular types of homes that you like. You're going to look at particular types of homes that are readily available. So get a lot of that work, done online. Then get a realtor. This is the time when you sit down and start talking to them, because the realtor is going to actually help you prepare for this adventure you're about ready to go on. So don't wait to the very end. Don't try to go out and buy a house and get to the very end and say, oh, I better get a realtor at this point. Because that person is experienced, trained, they're professional, and they're going to help guide you through this entire process. So start online, get a lot of that stuff done, but then get a hold of a realtor. Nobody's going to accept an offer from you if you're not qualified to buy that home. And you may not know if you're qualified. Start talking to a lender. And there are programs out there besides just lending programs. Virginia Housing has programs. You can go right to Loudoun, they have programs, and start getting an idea of what you qualify for. The whole loan pre-qualification process is critical. And when you finally get to the point of making an offer, in that offer package is a pre-qualification letter from a lender. If you don't have one, your offer is probably not going to be reviewed. And don't go see every house. It'll drive you nuts. It'll drive your realtor nuts. If you want to see every home, go online and look at every home. But then start focusing in on really what makes sense for you and for your family. Do you need a detached home? Do you need a garage? Do you need a backyard? Where is the location? Just start getting an idea of what makes the most sense for you, and that'll narrow it down to something that really makes a lot of sense, and you have good qualifications and good conversations about what makes sense for you and your family. When you start previewing homes, you can actually go to homes without a realtor. You can go to open houses. But a lot of times, like I said earlier, by the time the open house is around, that owner already has 3 or 4 or more offers. It's a little late. So what you want to do is you want to preview homes with a realtor, and the realtor perhaps can get you in there quickly before the open house. So you have a good chance to get in there and see if this is something that you want to pursue going forward. Number 6, fine tune your home and start to prioritize. A lot of times we in this industry say that buying a home is a process of elimination. Let's face it, guys and gals, there's no perfect home out there. So you're going to find something, and now what you have to do is start saying, okay, what are the trade-offs between that home and this home? And there are going to be a lot of things you're going to look at. It could be distance for commuting, could be distance to the school, distance to restaurants, whatever it may be. And then the size of the home, what works for you. Maybe you have big dogs and the big backyard is important. Who knows? Yeah, prioritize and fine tune that list. Now, when you're ready to move in on a home and you've really thought this through, you've talked to a lender, you know what you can afford, you know what you like, you're now getting to the point where you want to make an offer of the new home. This is where you sit down with your realtor and you start coming down with a draft. The sales offer is about 16 pages. So those 16 pages need to be explained to you, and that's what your realtor's job is to do. Explain what you can do, the things you need to be cautious of. The 16 pages is a lot. There's a lot of legalese in there because a lot of times in Virginia we do not use attorneys when we buy and sell homes. So there is legal ease in there, and you need to understand what you're getting into. Negotiating and ratifying. So that document, that sales offer, when it goes into the lister to the homeowner, they may come back and say, you know, this is okay. I don't like this. I want to change this, because there could be 5 or 6 things that are in your sales offer. So that's when you get into the negotiation stage. And then when you both agree, the buyer and seller agree, you sign, and then each gets a copy of the signed contract, then you become ratified. And ratification is really important because that day, that gets notated on your sales contract, and that starts the entire process that's coming up in step 9. Everything that has to happen during the contract period is based on the ratification date. I made this bold, so hopefully you remember it. This is when realtors really earn their living. This is the hard part, going through the contract notification, the contract ratification period. Because you may have said, okay, listen, I'll buy that house, but it's going to depend on A, it has to appraise. I'm offering you this amount of money, and if the appraisal of the home is lower, then I don't want to buy it. You probably will have something in there where you're going to have pest control and home inspections, radar inspections, a lot of different things. If you're buying a home in an HOA, which you probably are in Loudoun County, there's HOA documents. There's rules and regulations of living in an HOA that you need to be aware of. If you are buying something that is a condo, there'll be condo docs you have to go through. So this is the time you have to really be ready, study, and you have to move quickly, because remember, you have a ratification date telling you that this is where it starts, and then at the end of the contract, hopefully that's when you'll be closing, and that's when we get to number 10. So that's our closing and our settlement. Now, during that process, something happens where you have asked for contingencies, and it could be A, I need to be able to get approved for the loan. B, the house has to appraise for the value that I'm offering. C, the home has to be in good working order. That's the home inspection. I'm going to have radon inspection, pest inspection, and I'll be looking at HOA and condo docs. Then you're going to have another step. When all of this is done, you're going to go back into that house and you're going to walk it again, because if the seller came back and said, yeah, we fixed this. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, everything you wanted, we did it. Well, you have to go make sure. So you have a walkthrough period, and that's right before you close. Be with a realtor when you do this. Now I'm going to jump on to the home selling process. The home selling process, what I did here is, if you've had any marketing training in the old days or in class or whatever, a lot of times they use the 5 P's of selling. And so I'm going to use the 5 P's of selling on selling a home. Number one, preparation. If you're getting ready to sell a house, you need to understand how much is my house really worth? And I'll bet you dollars to donuts that the homeowner always thinks their home is worth more than what the market thinks. Because at the end of the day, you've been living there, you've made all these changes, you have a lot of emotion, a lot of history in that house, and it's worth more to you than maybe the other million people that are going to be looking at your home, hopefully. So you need to do some comparison between your house and to other ones in your neighborhood. There may be some repairs. It does not hurt at all to bring somebody in, your realtor, number one, but they can come in with a designer, they can come with a decorator, they can come in with a contractor, and you can walk through there and say, should this bathroom be changed? Is it okay? Will the market accept it as it is? And then timing. Remember, we talked about timing earlier when we're thinking of what time of the year is it? Is it a buyer market or a seller market? So timing is important too. If you're being transferred out, you may not have much to work with on timing. You may have to get out in so many days, so many months. But timing is an issue that you can prepare for in P number one, preparation. Two, price. Again, I think most homeowners think that their home is worth X% higher than what the market would be. So you need to look at it very strategically. You have to look at the other homes. And when you are pricing your home, don't look at other homes that are for sale and look at the ask. Remember, we had a slide earlier where it was the slide that told us between the ask and the close. That's a big difference sometimes. So you want to look at the history of homes that have been sold and look at the sold price and use that to help build you what your asking price could be. Now, there's a little strategy here. Another slide, if you remember, there were a lot of homes sold recently that the sold was higher than the ask. That could be a strategy. And the strategy there would be that the homeowner says, okay, my house is worth 350,000. And maybe they price it at 325 to attract more buyers and then to bid that price up and get it over 350 in a bidding war. That's a strategy that some employ. And the price trends too. What's happening in my neighborhood? Of the homes that were sold last fall and the homes that were sold this spring, and I'm selling in the summer, what's that trend like? So perhaps when you look at your pricing strategy and you come up with that, let's use that 350 a day again, and you may say, today it's worth 350, but by the time I sell this house, it could be 30 or 60 days from now. Maybe I should list it at 365. So the trend that's happening in your neighborhood. P number three, place. That's where your home is. Staging, curb appeal, the neighborhood. It's really, really important. Get somebody in there to help you. How do I make my house look better? Do I need to add some flowers, some vegetation out front? Do I need to put some new blacktop coating down on my driveway? Would that be better? Should I do some painting just to touch it up? Because a lot of times when people show up, they're going to be looking at that house and they may just keep going. So do something to attract and bring them in. And then staging is important. One of the things you want to do is you want to declutter. You may hear that term from time to time, declutter your house. You may have a lot of furniture. You may have a lot of knickknacks here and there. Work with your realtor to come up with what would be a good suggestion to maybe put some things in storage, take some furniture out. If some of your furniture maybe needs repair, take it out and bring in other furniture. You could always rent furniture just to have your house staged. If your house is vacant because you've already had to leave, maybe you were promoted to a new area, then staging will bring in fake furniture or bring in furniture that is not really used there for consumption, but it just makes your house look good. And also staging online. You can virtually stage your house online, which is very successful as well at times. P number four, promotion. That's advertising, sales. Of course, you're going to be on the web. A lot of people may want to have a website just for their property. That may or may not be that important. You know how Google is and how Google searches are. So if you have 123 Main Street Ashburn .com, how many people are searching for that? It's not going to be promoted well in Google, for instance. But there are tricks where you can get your house listed earlier in the listing pages. Work with your realtor, and you may even want to hire an SEO professional to do that. Opens or open houses? Open houses for a lot of homeowners are a pain in the neck. You have to leave for the weekend, or you have to go out for Sunday, or whatever the case may be. You're always cleaning, you're keeping it up to date. But that's where everybody comes in, even the neighbors. You may say, I don't want my neighbors walking through my house. Well, guess what? They have friends. They may have some friends that they would like to live next door, you know? Hey, the house down the street, come on in, buddy. I got a house for you in my neighborhood. So be open about that, use an open mind, and I think that would help. Print, people say like everything's online. No, folks like to hold things in their hand. Make up some brochures. You may want to put a brochure case on the outside on your yard sign, the post there. People can come by and pull brochures out. And then other services that you may want to do with promotion. There's other ways that, you know, in the old days, you get a postcard, you go down to the Giant and you stick it up on the corkboard down there. Doesn't happen much anymore, but there's other ways, you know, think outside the box. How can I promote my home? And have your realtor help you with that. That's what they're doing. That's how they're helping you and servicing you the best they may. The fifth P is people. Get the best people around you. Number one, realtor. Interview your realtors. There's nothing wrong with that. They expect to be interviewed. And make sure you pick somebody not only is knowledgeable of the industry and the neighborhood, but somebody that you would like to work with, because you guys are going to be real good friends for the next 30 to 60 days. Title is title company. The title company is normally selected by the buyer, but you can still use the title attorney with a title company. And if you're not comfortable with that 16-page document and all the legalese in there, use a title attorney to help you with. You're going to have contractors, movers, maybe landscapers. So surround yourself with the best. Remember, you don't have a lot of time from ratification to closing, and you may be negotiating a home improvement, a home inspection item. Make sure that your contractor can get in there quickly and get it repaired quickly, because you don't want to drag it out. You don't want to end up missing your closing date. So a lot of information there, the 5 P's of selling. And I went a little too fast. Here are some areas, some resources for you. We have a ton of information. Amanda talked about that earlier. That's what we do. We provide information to the public. We are asked by the County Board of Supervisors all the time, could you send over the latest market reports? So there's a link right there to get the market reports. We have a Facebook page, Insta page, and a Twitter page. So feel free to get in there. And guess what? Go ahead and call DAR. Get a hold of Amanda, get a hold of anybody down there. That's what we are. We're here to serve you. And we are available to point you in the right direction and just get you through some of the nervousness that you may have with the anxiety of selling or buying a home. So Christine, do we have any questions I should address?
Yeah, we have a few, and if folks have any other questions that they'd like to add now, we'll start taking those questions. Amanda or Rich, did you want to share the additional information here, or do you want me to just mention what's on this last slide?
This one here?
Yep, so this was just some, do you want to mention that, or you want me to cover that?
Yeah, no, go ahead and cover it because it fits in nicely with what you guys do too.
Yeah. So the first link is a link to the Virginia Housing First-Time Homebuyer Training, and I think Rich, you said you've done this training before, right? You've maybe
I have.
been
I was a trainer for many years. Yes.
Yeah. So when you get a minute, go ahead and click on that, and that is a training that is offered through the state office, the Virginia through Virginia Housing for first-time home buyers. Great information there. Just a general overview of things to know when you are looking to buy your first home. And then the second link there is a searchable map that provides information about how to find a HUD certified housing counselor. So again, you can click on that link and it will pull up a list of organizations that can help you with pre-purchase, post-purchase, rental counseling, lots of great services offered by those nonprofit organizations too. So those are just two important resources, and those are linked on our website as well. So with that, I am happy to ask a couple of questions, if that's all right. Rich and Amanda, you ready for a couple?
We are.
Okay. The first one is it anticipated that housing prices will decrease in the near future?
Well, I can be glib and say what goes up has to come down, but I wouldn't expect that. I think what you would see instead of prices coming down is that the rate of prices going up slows down.
Yeah. Okay. Amanda,
Amanda,
any insight?
No, I mean, we hear quite a bit from the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors, Dr. Lawrence Yoon, and we also talk a lot with Dr. Lisa Sturdivant with Bright MLS, and I think they are pretty much right agreeing with Rich here is we're not going to see the prices decrease. We're not in a position to have another 2008, 2009 situation. Prices might just start to even out and slowly increase, but we're not going to see this like tumbling of prices like we saw back, over a decade ago.
Yeah, to that, Christine, one of the things we are seeing is that there is less appetite for buyers to pay over listing. So that was very common in the first half of this calendar year, but that's really slowing down a lot.
Great. Okay, next question we have here, and these are two questions that are kind of related, so I might combine them. And Rich, you talked about this a little bit, but the question is, how can I manage to purchase or how can I improve my chances in purchasing in such a competitive market? When we're looking at 7 days on the market, how can I manage in that environment?
Well, back to the P's, preparation, and make sure that you have everything ready to go. You have a very strong lender letter, and you are ready to move into a home quickly. I would not typically say start waiving contingencies. I think you need to be protected. So I always think that's a dangerous game to play. There are lenders out there though that will. I'm not going to give you any names because I don't want to be selling anybody's services. But what they could do, work with you and make your offer contingent on an loan, an approved loan, and turn it into a cash offer. So that 2 or 3 companies have been emerging lately to do that. So do some research on that, guys, and check out how could I make my down payment a cash purchase. So that's one thing to do, but be ready to move quickly. I think one reason why the market is the way it is right now, people don't like selling homes. It's a hassle. So if they don't have to have an open house and they can put a sign up in the front yard and get a contract tomorrow, they'll do that. So be prepared, work with your realtor and have a plan, and then go in and get a house quickly.
Thanks. We actually have a follow-up question that's sort of related to that. The question is, do you have suggestions for where and how to shop around for lenders? And I know we've said a couple times, Rich just said it there, we can't recommend a specific lender, but is there any information kind of where people can get general ideas for lenders? Amanda or Rich?
Start with your realtor. That's the first thing, they can start giving you a list to call. And when you start talking to them, what's going to happen is you're going to learn of questions that you didn't think you should ask. So use that first step to kind of build up your relationship in your conversation, and then go online. There's a lot of that do it online. That may not fit everybody. They're more of a national lender. You may be looking for a local lender. That's the other thing. What are your needs at the end of the day with that loan money?
Yeah, and I'll just add, I mean, part of working with a realtor and why realtors are so valuable is because they have relationships, strong relationships with vendors in the industry, such as lenders, mortgage officers, title companies. And so when you have a really strong relationship with someone, things go more smoothly. They just do. So we also on our site, the public can search on our website, dallasarea.com, for lenders and mortgage officers who are members of the Dallas Area Association of Realtors as an affiliate. So these are not realtors, but service providers that join our association to help our realtors succeed and also give back to the community in Loudoun.
Great, that's excellent. Thanks for that. And I will also just add that sometimes we get the question for folks who are looking to purchase an affordable dwelling unit, can we recommend a lender? We can't recommend a specific lender, but we do provide a list of lenders who do have experience working with the ADU program. So lots of resources to pick from. Thanks for those answers.
Can I jump in on with one more thing?
Yeah.
There was
Yeah, go ahead.
another question I saw earlier. Do I need 20% down? No, not necessarily. There are buying programs out there. Virginia Housing has programs or other programs where you could just put down 3.5%. So, do the search, Google that stuff and then talk to your realtor and then get a hold of DAR as well.
Great. A question just came into the chat. Will there be a recording of the webinar? The answer is yes, we are recording. And what I'm planning to do is just to send the recording out to anybody who's registered. So we did also have some folks who missed it today. But to answer the question in the chat, yes, the recording will be available. And I have another question for Rich and Amanda. And it is, I don't know if you're going to be able to give a specific answer, but the question is, how long does it take to go from making an offer to completing and closing on a home?
Want me to take that, Amanda?
Yeah.
So you said from making an offer to closing on a home.
That's right.
Well,
that's the question. Yep.
So there's a middle step that's really important, and that's called ratification. So you're going to make an offer, you're going to negotiate, you're going to come to an agreement, and then you ratify. And then from that point to closing, it's about 30 days. Most of that time in the 30 days, that is because the lender takes a lot of time to do what they call underwriting. So if you have a very strong lender who only requires maybe 20 days or 15 days, now you can say, listen, I'm not going to close in 30 days after ratification. I can do it in 21. So that may be something that would help. So, but going from that first step, you could probably come to the offer, to the agreement, to the ratification stage in about 2 or 3 days, maybe less.
Great. Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to add to what Rich said on that one?
Yeah, I mean, the timelines really are all outlined in the offer. And it really just depends on the financing that you're getting and if you have to lease back your home. There's a lot of different things to it. So it could be anywhere from 10 days to 120.
Yep. But I heard from Rich, be prepared and do everything you can to kind of move things along as quickly as you can.
Yeah, get your homework done.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions? Please, folks, if anybody has other questions, add them to the chat now. And seeing none, I just wanted to, I guess, take a few minutes to wrap up here. Rich or Amanda, did you have any final thoughts or things that you wanted to add?
I did.
Okay.
Don't be intimidated, especially if you're a first-time buyer. There's a lot you don't know, but the resources are at your fingertips. You have it right there in Loudoun County Housing to help you. DAR is going to help you. Your realtor is going to help you. And read some stuff online and do your homework, feel comfortable. And then at the end of the day, your realtor should be able to guide you through the process.
Yeah, and I'll add that, like I mentioned, not all real estate agents are realtors. So if you want to verify if your agent is a realtor, You can also do that on the dallasarea.com site through our member search, or you can always call and ask if they're a member here. And those realtors, they are subscribing to that higher code of ethics and making sure that the consumers and the clients are protected. So that should always be your first step. Make sure your agent is a realtor.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And thank you again, Rich and Amanda, for being with us today and providing such a great overview of the housing market and for the ongoing reports that DAR provides. And folks, again, just to remind you, those are on the DAR site. And I will provide the recording of this webinar to those who have registered. I also just wanted to mention that the first 2 sessions that we held for Home Ownership Month, the recordings are available for those as well. If anyone's interested, please feel free to give me an email. The first session we had was an overview of the county program, so the ADU program and the down payment closing cost assistance program. So we have all the details on those. And the second one was a presentation by a panel of HUD certified housing counselors with just information about how to prevent foreclosure once you become a homeowner. So if anyone's interested in those are available. I also just wanted to mention another resource. One of our local nonprofit partners is Habitat for Humanity. They joined us for the first presentation when we did an overview of the homebuyer programs, because they do have a home ownership program. They also have a series of workshops called Tools for Life. And those are some great topics as well, anywhere from becoming a homeowner to home repair and maintenance. And so I'll also include that information when I send out the recording. It's a great local resource as well. And they're doing a lot of stuff online. So those webinars are also recorded and available on their website too. So with that, I just wanted to thank everyone again for being here. We are finishing just a few minutes early, which I'm sure no one ever complains about, having a few extra minutes of their life back. But thank you all for being here, and happy Home Ownership Month, and hope you can join us for another webinar again sometime soon. Have a great afternoon, everybody.